off the cliff. I think I mentioned that last time. It was in the Disney movies because the lemming was always you commit suicide when there's overpopulation and these rodents would jump off the cliff. But it was actually the filmmakers who were behind them driving them off the cliff. So we use that term today, don't be a lemming to don't follow blindly. But even that was a myth created. So what we want to focus on is how do we keep ourselves healthy and what is this healing process? Life has no finish line or completion point. It's only a flowing from one moment to another. So if you ask, when does healing stop? It's like asking, where's the horizon? As our world is spinning, the line is moving and our answer is circular. There's no beginning and there's no end. So healing is a process, not a destination. As spiritual beings having this physical experience, we are spiraling up in our consciousness if we so choose to grow in that direction. So healing never ends. It is a process. I liked this outline of the healing process, was from spiritportal.org. And, you know, when we're in a crisis like this, we're in a pressure cooker and we're going through a process of healing, and it can be confusing. We can get conflicting information. We can get uncomfortable, especially if we're looking and letting those emotions and thoughts come up. Parts of ourselves that we've sort of hidden away that we don't really want to look at. So as we heal them, that has to come up to be released and to be let go of. And what happens is people feel that pressure and they want out. And to really engage in the healing process, you have to be willing to step into it and stay with it and not bail out sort of when the going gets tough. So we often have unreasonable expectations, although I do believe that spontaneous healing is possible. It means that that person has made a huge shift somewhere in their being to allow that healing to occur. And that is not the normal case. So you don't want to expect that with your healing work that it is going to happen instantaneously. You know, we've been put on hold in this crisis. It's an opportunity for us to use this time to heal ourselves and to go within. And this is my mission, why I'm here. And when we do this work together, it can accelerate it and happen much more quickly. We're very complex beings and we exist on many levels. It's not just the physical, like I said, we're body, mind, heart, and soul. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done to move forward. The contradictions are that, you know, sometimes we can't make sense of it, or we have conflicting information like we're getting in this outer situation and tension. And that's just part of the process. And being okay with it and letting it flow through, letting this information flow through and letting the truth surface up is important. Often we'll come into that dark night of soul where we think just there's no hope. Everything looks like you can't find the light, you can't find a solution, you feel alone, and sometimes feels like you've been dropped into a deep dark hole and there's no one there to reach up your hand to grab. But that's the illusion. It is often a process we go through as we're releasing those negative parts of ourselves. But everything we're experiencing, especially inside of healing, it's somewhere within us. And it needs to be faced, embraced, and till it's fully transformed. And sometimes we go around that wheel a few times, or like I like to use that onion analogy, we're peeling the layers away till we finally get to that core truth in the healing. So there can be a delayed reaction and phenomena when we're going through healing, and we may not see any results. I know I've had work done and often it's like, well, I didn't feel like anything happened. And then you look back and it's like, oh, wait a minute. I just changed how I did something I always did the same way. I had a client who was afraid to be in her own home. She had had a relative come in. He had actually hidden a weapon in the house and was planning on coming back that night to attack her. She had her own intuitive sense that it wasn't safe there for some reason, so she didn't stay that night. But then she became afraid to be in her home. So I did an intense 6-hour healing session with her. And by the end of the session, I'd never met her in person. We talked very briefly, but it was, well, nothing happened. I didn't feel a change. And I knew her sister who had referred her to me. And a year later, I said, you know, I hadn't heard any more from your sister. How is she doing? And she says, oh, great. She moved out of her house in California. She's moved here to Vancouver, and she's doing wonderfully well. She couldn't see herself moving out of that house back when we did the work. That was the shift that occurred over time to allow her to release what wasn't safe for her and wasn't serving her. So we can have that delayed time period for healing. So be patient with yourself if you're going through a process of healing and working on things. It takes baby steps to get there. And it will eventually trickle down into this level and this awareness. So sometimes it's difficult to get that clear perspective of what's really happening and where you're at, which is also why it's good to talk to people and get some other perspectives. And that's what I work with people. It's like a mirror so that you can bring that out and then see it for yourself. I see my stuff in other people. If I'm reacting to somebody, it's usually because I've got that within me that I need to heal. And so by doing this work, we're building the foundation so you can build a strong and healthy sense of wellness, well-being, and how are we going to exist in this new energy? How are we going to exist in this new world? It's not going to be functioning the same as it was before we went into this quarantine. Things are going to be changing. And how are you going to do that unless you can heal, go within, find that place of inner peace, and find your own truth so you can stand strong in that place inside of you and not judge it, neither good or bad. You know, I was starting to get into the fear about what was going on. And as I go down the different trails and investigate some of what is being uncovered, it can be very frightening. But understanding that God put us here and there's a higher purpose for all of this that's going on. And I need to keep my focus on the health and the healing and the light and not get pulled into that dark. So don't judge it. Both of them are serving a role and a purpose to help us grow. And we have those parts within ourselves, the light and the dark, and they all need to be accepted. Some people will call that the shadow work. So working through your healing is really a way to embrace yourself. Last time we talked about some of the things you could do. We're going to be looking at the self-responsibility and love. So how do we forgive ourselves for what we feel we may have done wrong or what we're holding on to, and give ourselves the love and to just go through the process and feel whatever it is you're feeling. Good. We don't have to judge it good or bad. It just is. And we need to let those things come up to be healed. So it's just all energy that needs to be moved. It's like anger. That was one of my major issues. And I think contributed for me behind it was a lot of fear. And when I wasn't in control, and something was coming, I would get angry because that was my defense to push it away and to push somebody away who was invading my space. But anger also can be a motivational force, and you can use that energy and transmute it to help you move forward in your life. So unexpressed or suppressed anger can actually be one of the major causes for diseases such as cancer. And to heal those, you really have to do that emotional healing. And then take it into that crazy wisdom, which is really, what is our true wisdom of our higher self? How do we harmonize with that part of ourselves and raise ourselves in ways to, like I think the planet's trying to do, to jump up to a higher level of consciousness so that our perspectives change and we're more in harmony with this new world that's being created. So we have a window of opportunity right now. And for me, that opportunity is really to help people heal through this situation so that they and you are able to function in this new reality with more ease and grace, and not being buffeted about by the storm, but being that calm center. So that's sort of an overview of how I approach that healing process and how it uplifts and transforms and transcends us, takes us into accepting that everything is changing. And that is, as they say, the only constant in the world is change and death. But then death is just a change, right? Takes us into a different state of awareness and consciousness. And then we keep spiraling up, depending on your beliefs, how that happens. But everything is connected. And how can we move through these changes with more awareness, bringing from underneath the surface those things that need to be brought up, to be looked at, to be either loved or healed or released or forgiven, whatever it may be for you. These are our 12 core functions, which I call our operating system. We are all operating on all these levels at all times, whether we're aware of them or not. Many of you have seen the iceberg model, where you've got the little part of the iceberg above the water, and then there's this big chunk of it down underneath the water. Well, that top part is what we're conscious of. Underneath is everything that's hiding. And that can be our emotions, our thought patterns, our programming from society, from childhood. If you're watching mainstream media right now, you are being programmed every single moment you watch that. And it can be hard to break those patterns because this programming's been going on for a very long time through our media channels, even though, you know, I heard about China and propaganda, Russia back in the day. We've been undergoing that too. So today we're talking about self-responsibility and love, and then moving into transcending. So just to give a little bit about what self-responsibility and love are. Self-responsibility to me means really discovering, understanding, yes, that I've created where I'm at. All my past actions have brought me to the present, but it's uncovering also what my real needs are and how to find ways to meet them. So realizing that you are unique and you are the expert about yourself, but you have to educate yourself to be able to be making those wise choices. And you need to express yourself, both your ideas and your feelings, that effectively communicate this with other people, and express who you are, what you need, and what you know. And then we move into, as we take that responsibility for all of our being, love means listening to ourselves, listening to our heart. But you have to take the time, you have to make the effort to go within, to make that connection and understand and treasure who you are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It all is part of who we are. So consider experiencing yourself as your best friend. Remain faithful to yourself. Don't, because that's one of the things I've had trouble with is boundaries. Everybody wants something from me, my family growing up. And so I gave up who I was to please them and to meet their needs. And so it's been a journey for me to start discovering who am I without all the expectations of what I was supposed to be, and how do I love myself through all the different times of my life. And when we're sitting at home right now alone by ourselves, hey, great opportunity to go within and say, hey, what do I like about myself? What I don't like about myself? Do I want to change it or not? And realize that although we perceive ourselves to be alone, we're connected to everyone else. So self-responsibility and love are really the foundations of our whole operating system, our whole energy input and output. So it's like a bridge that's supported by these two pillars or piers. Each one is crucial. The bridge won't stay up if you don't have both of them going in your life. So these are fundamental to our process of wellness. So I'm going to have you take a moment right now and just take a look at the statement. It says, I recognize that I am responsible for my health and well-being. So if you think about that, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being, yep, I got that, I understand it, 100% on with it, and 0 is like, nope, somebody else, I'm the victim, somebody else is responsible, let them figure out what I need to do. So just rate yourself 0 to 10. You can write it down if you like. And then depending where you put your number, are you motivated to change that? So again, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10, okay, let's say I gave myself, I only recognize it, maybe I'm a 4. And I'd really like to improve that. So my motivation level may be 8 or 9. And that's meaning I want to take that responsibility to look into this and learn how I can better improve it. So this is in the 12 Dimensions of Wellbeing program. Each of these dimensions has 10 major statements like this with much more detailed information so you can dive deeper and go within and explore these topics. You can journal what you're uncovering and understanding. You can set your goals. What are the steps you want to take to improve in the area that you find you're most motivated in? So it gives you a comprehensive platform along with the support to do that. So we're going to try this self-care practice. So depending where you're at, if you're able, our body is talking to us 24/7. It never shuts up. It's always giving us information. So it's giving you feedback about what's happening and what you're doing and how it's affecting you. But many of us, I know for a long time, I shut down those certain aspects of myself. And, you know, I could be in pain and shut that down because it just wasn't something I could deal with. So we need that feedback for our survival and to find that balance. So how can we work to start tuning into those messages consciously and start hearing them and then heeding them? So to inhabit your body means to start listening to what it's saying to you and trusting what you hear, to be aware of it. It wants that attention. So we're going to do a little exercise, massaging your feet. So if you're in a position where you can, just lift up one of your feet, kick off your shoes, and say, hey, here's my foot. Welcome, foot. I haven't met you in a while. You're down there supporting me and keeping me going all day, but I haven't given you any love recently. I haven't paid attention. So just go ahead and start massaging it. Just take that one foot vigorously or gently, whatever feels best to you, and just work it over and send it love and thank it for being there and really tune into it. You know, does it ache? Does it hurt? Is it flexible? You know, how does it feel? Bring that positive energy into it. We have some major energy centers coming out the bottom of the foot, which are important to help keep us grounded. So we have to have that open and flowing. Then when you're done with that foot, work on your other foot and take that one up and do the same thing. Hey, say thank you, foot. I appreciate you getting me around today, getting me where I needed to go, even if it's just around my house because I can't go out into the world. But you got me up and down those stairs. You kept me upright. And if you have the space, I can't really get out of my little space here. stand up and say, how do my feet feel while I'm standing on them just still? And then, take a few steps. How do they feel when I walk around? And then when you're ready, sit down again and, how do they feel now that you've massaged them, you've moved them, you've paid attention, you become more aware of them? Are they different than when you started? And welcome your feet home. Thank them. So the feet is one area. You can do this with any part of your body that you feel needs some attention or you need to bring more awareness to. So if we could open up the lines. If anybody would like to share their experience or any thoughts or insights they had during that, that would be great.
It felt good. Yes.
Do you have more awareness of your feet and what they've been doing for you?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah. Feel good to massage them?
Yes.
I really feel good if I get somebody else to massage them for
Yeah, exactly.
But we have to give ourselves that self-love too. Anyone else?
It made me think about when we had reflexology sessions. Those were nice, but definitely my right arch was kind of sore compared to the left. So
good.
Yeah, I noticed a big difference between my left foot and my right foot. And I know about all the energy centers in our feet and how important that is, but wow, how much do we neglect them? Or I neglect them. I forget to say gratitude for all that it does for me throughout the day. So I'm kind of a little giddy right now, just focusing that attention there.
Excellent.
Yeah, my feet have really been hurting me lately. So putting some attention there, definitely feel the difference quite a bit. And also they're asking for more.
Don't stop. Excellent. Anyone else? So this is something, like I said, you can do your hands, you can do any part of your body that you're feeling it. Now the real test of inhabiting your body is to undress completely and stand in front of a mirror and just take everything in and love it without judgment. Look at everything. Observe your thoughts and the judgments that are coming up about your body and let those opinions go. So bring compassion in. I definitely have a few more pounds on than I would like, but I've really been working on just thanking and blessing my body because it's protecting me. It's doing its best in this situation. Sitting at home is a little more difficult. I need to work on more movement, but accepting and loving that this is where I am right now. I had one woman I was doing an energy healing session on, and when she came back and we talked about it, that was her comment. She said, I got up, I stripped naked, I got in front of the mirror, and she said, I was able to stand and look at myself and I loved myself. And she hadn't even been able to look at herself at all before that without clothes on. So it's powerful, accepting where we're at without judgment. So great practice you can take home with you. The next dimension is transcending, which it has many different faces. Some people will experience it doing their athletics and hitting their peak performance of flow, that being in the zone feeling. And it's when you're experiencing that sense of being fully awake and engaged in the present moment. You are just right there. You can be overcoming some other challenge or obstacle, moving through some barrier that you'd had, and now you make that success and you get through it, saying yes to life again. So this is where faith and spirituality come in, and experiencing our connection to something greater than ourselves. So however that manifests for you. And it's interesting because as you transcend and you reconnect with this, it brings us back to reconnecting with that self-responsibility and love. This knowledge and experience involves that, and we spiral back to start on that journey again into all these dimensions. Like I said, they're all happening at the same time, but we are always moving up. It's like it says here, you can't step twice into the same river. It is never the same river. It has moved on. In each moment, we are never the same. We have moved on. So Heraclitus, I think it is, was the Greek philosopher who said that. So I know we're getting on in time here a little bit. So the self-assessment for the transcending, we're going to take this statement. Even in chaos or loss, I am able to maintain faith in the process of change. So again, looking at a scale of 0 to 10, how true is that for you? Are you able to maintain your faith during this process we're going through? During these upheavals and these major changes that have happened in our life, with everything stopping, for many people, work stopping, or those that are still working, feeling more threatened, being out there while they serve. So if you want, you can jot that number down. And then look at your motivation. Is this an area that you want to change? Like I said, in the 12 dimensions of well-being, there's 10 statements we would evaluate. So we go into a much deeper assessment in each of these areas to see exactly where you're at. Because if you're taking a journey, you have to know where you're starting. Otherwise, you can't get to where you want to go. And then we can plan the steps out of how to get moving forward and create more of this in your life. So, like I said, everything in the universe is in the constant process of changing. We can watch it, we can observe it, and we can participate in making those changes. Everything is a continual state of evolution, from the photons of light that come in and create through the atoms, molecules, minerals, plants, and animals, all the way up to conscious beings, such as dolphins and humans. We're not the only ones. I think everything has a state of consciousness. We tend to put ourselves at the top. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not, but we're always progressing towards greater stages of development. You know, we're born and we're growing. We go through the different stages. First, we learn to crawl and then walk, and then we go to school, and then we get indoctrinated. And then at some point, it's like, maybe I want to wake up and think about, what have I been told? Have I been taught critical thinking or not? Some people have, some haven't. And to create that wellness, it's this never-ending process of moving yourself towards your highest potential. We're an open system. We take energy in from our experiences and what's going on around us. We process it, and then we put energy back out into our world. And creation involves that whole process. Closed systems like rocks and that are not going to have that same process. But every system that is open, which we are, has that potential for changing into a much more complex, more beautiful, or elaborate being. And we talked about that falling together and falling apart. Right now, it appears like the world is falling apart. Everything appears as if there's endings to so many different things. But when you look at the process of the caterpillar and it goes into the cocoon, and it's in this dark state, and it looks like nothing is happening, looks like a dead thing. But inside that cocoon, there's this magical process going on. There's a regeneration and a transformation that is happening. And so although it appeared like it fell apart and that it was a death, it was really signaling everything falling together. It was coming together in a new way and in a new form. So it was restructuring itself. And the story of the emperor moth, which is similar to the butterfly, has a very small, narrow opening that it has to exude itself out of. But if you break that cocoon open and try to help it, it becomes a very deformed moth that cannot live, because that process of going through that opening, which is our process of going through this change when things seem hard, when we're in the pressure cooker, is the process of that restructuring. And in that process, it pushes all the fluid out into those wings that then become these beautiful structures. And without that process, that true beauty would not come forth. So through working more consciously in a more intense fashion, I don't want to say intense really, more focused fashion, such as doing this 14-week program, we really dive deep into each of these areas so that transformation can happen more quickly and with the support of myself and all the tools that we have available. So, am I able to maintain faith in the process of change? So these are a couple different ways we can work with finding our center, which is really important in transcending. It's finding that inner wisdom, that place of quiet and calm. So one way is in Tai Chi, we have what we call the Dantian. It's about 3 finger widths below our belly button and a third of the way into the body. So other people will find it in the heart. So imagine just taking a few deep breaths. And where's your breath originating from? Is it coming from a deep place? If you keep breathing, what's the deepest you can breathe? Notice where you sense that origination point. And if you pointed to yourself and you say, I am me several times, where do you point? So I tend to point to my heart. Somebody may tend to point to their belly. It could be anywhere. Where do you feel that place is for yourself that's truest? So we may use this imagining that your body is a building and it has this hidden chamber located somewhere within it. And that's a place you can go to meet your highest self, your inner wisdom, your spiritual guidance. This is a place where your truth exists, where no lie can exist. So if you imagine your body as this building and there's a hidden chamber, where do you feel that chamber exists? Now, you may have noticed that you may have come up with different places. They may not have all been the same. So work with that. You know, your physical balance may be one point, like when we do Tai Chi and we balance in our belly and that Dantian, our fulcrum, our center of gravity. But when I'm doing more spiritual work, I may go into my heart. So one thing you can do is just really work and see so that when you go into like a meditative practice, you can see where that takes you into that place. Really important to be able to find your center. And that's where you can go when things around you are feeling crazy, you're getting anxious, you don't know what's happening. Take those few deep breaths. Feel yourself connecting to the earth through the feet you've massaged, and open up those energy centers connected to the heavens, and they're meeting within in that sacred space within you. So just take another couple deep breaths and just let all that sort of integrate into you. But really important to be able to stay healthy and happy in this world, which is going to take us into doing our healing session. Good to just have that sense of where that center is for you, that home, that point of balance, and that helps make anything else we have to face easier in our lives. And when we're in that calm and loving energy within ourselves, then the world doesn't seem so threatening, and we can feel more secure and blessed, and allow ourselves to be more receptive to that which is for our highest good, and it'll bring greater harmony. So for the healing work, I just want you to get comfortable. I'm just wondering if we need to open and see if anybody had comments before we move forward. Does anybody find they had different places those exercises took them through, or what did you experience?
Yeah, mine were in different spots, and I kind of felt into it and played with those different spots. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, slightly different places.
So you may find in different situations one or the other. If it's more emotional, it may go to the heart. If it's a more physical and you need to be present and solid, it may be lower. So yeah, just be aware and experiment with them. Anyone else? Otherwise, we're going to go into this contemplation healing session. So I just want you to get comfortable. I like to sit. You can lie down if you're in a space where that's possible. I prefer closing my eyes because it helps me go inside and not be distracted by everything I'm seeing out here. And we'll start by just first taking a couple more of those deep breaths. So breathing in, holding it a moment or two, and letting it all out. And breathing in, and exhaling all the stress of the day. I love to use the word Hu. Hu is an ancient name for God. It's a mantra, we could call it. You can use any word that resonates for you. Today we're going to use the Hu. You can join me or not. It is the sound behind creation. It's the sound of soul. To me, it helps me open my heart to bring in that divine love and calm, and starts me on this inward journey to my inner guidance to see what needs to come through, what I need to listen to with my inner ears. So I'll sing it 3 times. You're welcome to join me. And then I'll guide you through a contemplation healing session where we can be ready to release those things that are no longer serving us, or if there's something we're not seeing, to allow it to come up to your consciousness so it can be examined, looked at, and then released. So you may or may not have an experience consciously now, but the energies are shifting and will be shifting you as we talked about that healing process. So you may notice something immediately, and some people may notice things over the next few days as things shift or they respond differently in a situation. So we'll start with the hue. So just bring your attention to that inner chamber, that sacred space within yourself, just calm and full of love. And while we're in that space, you suddenly notice, oh, there's an elevator. So you go over and you push the button. The doors open and you step inside. You turn around, the doors close, safe space, light, and the elevator rises. And it's shooting up straight into the heart of God, Spirit, divine love, ocean of love and mercy, whichever resonates with you. Suddenly stops, and the doors start to open slowly, and the light starts to come in so you can adjust to it. It opens at a pace that you can accept because it's a bright light. And you step out into this beautiful space of light and love. If you want, there's a table or a chair, and you can get comfortable in this heart of God. And we're going to let those lights are just bathing every singular cell and atom of your being. If there's something you have a question about, or something you want to release, let that come up to consciousness. And keep breathing nice and gently. And you're just being bathed and filled with light. You may even feel yourself expanding, losing a sense of your body and boundaries. What do you become aware of? What do you feel? I'm gonna let you just take a few moments to let that light go through and heal all that you're ready to release. To bring in that self-love and that forgiveness. It's just washing away from you like a waterfall of light pouring through you. may see different colors depending on what you need. Fill your heart with that beautiful light and love. Feel the joy in that divine presence. Or whatever you need to feel. May be difficult, but when ready, head back to that elevator, bringing that light that you filled your heart with back with you. Push that button, step inside. And as the elevator descends, it's just in a beam of light that comes down into your physical being. It is always with you. When ready and you get to the bottom, push that button and step out. Bring your awareness back to the present moment. I know it can be difficult to come back. We can open the lines again. All right. How did everyone do? Anyone want to share?
Woo!
My elevator moved fast. It's like, whoops, I'm there already.
Yeah, that was great. Especially the exiting the elevator for me for some reason was like triggered quite a little journey there.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Or any questions?
It was beautiful. This is a highlight in my week now, these little energy sessions. Very calming though. I feel very centered. I'm just, everything really is okay. Okay. So.
And this is something you can do in a couple moments. You don't have, it's nice to be able to sit down and do a 10 or 20 minute contemplation, but this is a healing exercise you can also do for yourself. And just take that moment and go into that space and bring that divine light and love in to help you, especially when you're feeling anxious or needing calm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll try it later on.
Okay. Anyone else?
It felt wonderful.
So really important during these times that we work on strengthening and fortifying ourselves and our immune system. These types of sessions, this type of work is what helps us to clear out the things that are weighing down or blocking our immune system from working well. So we know the basics. Lifestyle choices are important, how we're eating, are we getting enough sleep? A lot of people are having trouble sleeping right now because of the anxiety and the worry. Take that time to go within yourself, to really tap into your self-responsibility, your self-love, and our immune system responds positively to that. Connect to that deeper part of yourself. Listen to your inner guidance. What resonates with you as truth and not truth? You know, don't just believe everything we hear, but take it within. And I find truth doesn't necessarily change. My understanding and my perception of it changes. So as I work with this, I may start to see things from a different perspective. It expands the box I was in, and I keep expanding to one day I hope to have no box that I'm limited by, but that's part of our work. And using basic nutritional supplements. The studies out of Wuhan and out of Korea both showed that the IV, the intravenous vitamin C was extremely helpful and successful in treating this COVID-19. So we can at least be taking in high doses of vitamin C. I prefer an alkalinized form or the liposomal form, which is much more absorbable. The vitamin D, which is anti-inflammatory, and it's the inflammation that causes all this lung damage. Selenium and zinc. I have a guide that I've put out on more details on that. But going forward, right now, the world needs help. I really feel that I have been called for this time in history to be here because I have this ability to hold this healing space, to help people move through things that are not otherwise easy to uncover and bring forth. And to not have to do it with going repetitively through like talk therapy and re-traumatizing yourself, but allowing it to move out of all the layers of our being and to uplift that and bring it into the light while also supporting ourselves on the levels we need to. So really understanding where you're at and what you need to address first is crucial. You know, are you breathing properly? Are you getting the oxygen we need? If you're wearing your mask 24/7, then you're not, and you're putting yourself in a stress state and you're more susceptible to getting sick. Whether you get exposed to COVID-19 or not, we've all carrying viruses in our bodies. And they are just going to manifest because it's also the way the body cleans up toxic material is to mount a reaction. That's what most colds and flus are really a body detoxifying. Fever is important because that's how it burns it off. Are we eating the foods we need to be eating? You know, we know the basics, the breathing, the eating, the moving, but most people aren't looking at how are they feeling and processing that. What did I bring forth? How did I feel from what happened to me as a child and throughout my life? What thoughts and beliefs and patterns did I take on because of that? And am I able to even be aware that that's what's behind how I may react in a situation or why I have a certain belief that something is true? And it affects all areas of our life, the energy we're taking in and how we're communicating and responding to people in our lives, our levels of intimacy, and that's just with all relationships, including with ourselves. How are we balancing our playing and working? So if you don't know where you start, again, on this journey, you can't help yourself move forward. So I have this free self-assessment that gives you an overview of where you are so you can see that. It explains a little bit more about disease, wellness, and well-being and how they relate and are different. And you can access that at www.drmaureen.us. So it's a great tool. Please use it because that's your first step on the journey. I do offer, because I want to help people once they've had their assessment, is where are you feeling you're struggling the most? What is it you want to explore more deeply? And in this session, we can focus in on that. And I can give you some tools and techniques, and if we need to, do a little healing around it so that you can move closer to that 10 on expressing that dimension and functioning more fully. And so that's at the website there, drmaureen.us/clarity. I would love to talk with you and be able to explore these things with you and how I could help you understand how to move forward. And if you know anyone else who is needing this help, really let them know, because I'm here to support them and I'm asking for support back, because also I'm affected by not being able to be out and have an office, and I was seeing people at Peace Health Urgent Care. So this is how I can really support people to make this transition, take this next step in raising our consciousness and help heal the planet. So I have this 12 Dimensions of Wellbeing program, Beyond Wellness. It's 14 weeks. We take a deep dive. If you or someone you know is ready for self-transformation and wants to rise anew into this new world and be able to navigate it in a healthy and whole way, then this is going to get you there. It's a complete self-development program. It's designed to guide you through this awakening and transformation that we're experiencing now into this new state of consciousness. It exists now, but are we accessing it? And how do I heal what's holding me down still? It educates, it informs of your being to increase your awareness, your consciousness, and improve your choices in order to strengthen yourself so you can move forward into that new state of well-being. And it's a continual process. So you'll have these tools to take with you moving forward, no matter what comes at us next. It has this comprehensive toolkit, which includes this complete online learning platform. I am there to support you through this on these weekly calls. They're at least 90 minutes, and do these powerful healing sessions in a little more depth so I can support you or anyone you know on this journey. It is your next step in evolution. So if you're ready to take this journey, start with that free assessment and move forward. If you have questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I am here to help. For those who are not ready to take on this full thing, which is a powerful way to transform yourself, I am offering group distant healing sessions. They won't be on Zoom. They'll just be at a distance. I'll be doing them Thursday evenings and Sunday evenings from 9 to 10. And we'll be getting that hooked up. I don't know if it's quite hooked up yet, so you can email or message me if this is something you want to join up with. We'll be getting it up on my website soon. I didn't get the information to my IT guys, marketing guys. So one session is $57. If you get a package of 4, it can be one time a week for the 4 weeks. You save $42. If you get a package of 8, not 2 times a week, for a lot of people may be a little intense, but it's there for those who want to move quickly. Or it can be spread out over 8 weeks and you save $119. And I offer the naturopathic support if you need support right now for your immune system, if you need support for stress relief because of what's going on around you, or you know people who've been sick with this and need a post-recovery package, I am available to provide that individual guidance. So let's open up for questions. Ooh, that was fun. Well, thank you everyone for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned something and gained from those exercises. Do you have any questions, comments, thoughts you would like to share?
Well, so I had a question. Just the dimensions that you have been covering lately are exciting. A lot of this, I've been on this personal journey, as you said, going through all these different layers of the onions to find out that there's yet again another onion. And there's more, and to learn to just be okay with that, not the self-defeating, like, didn't I heal that already? Didn't I get that already? And so for me, it has been a journey of understanding, as your consciousness expands, well, now you see more that you weren't able to see before, and that actually being a good thing. But when you had said that remain faithful to yourself, and I've feel like I've spent a lifetime around this aspect of self-love and not always loving myself the way I really should. And finding like, how can I have so much love for such life and all these other beautiful beings, but why haven't I loved myself in the same way? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is or why that struck me, but that remain faithful to yourself just really, really hit me. I've had to work at boundaries over the years and, you know, being okay to stand in all my truth, in all that I am. But you mentioned going through the program helps you go through these deeper layers. And I'm just wondering if, you know, how would you relate that being faithful to yourself? How to, you know, and just what would going through that program really help to explore how to honor that, regardless of who's in your life or what you're experiencing?
Well, yeah, because it's first bringing everything up to awareness. And what happens is we tend to compromise our values and what's going on because we've been programmed throughout life. You know, I was raised that it's selfish to put myself first. I'm supposed to take care of everybody else. So
Right.
understanding that, well, in reality, unless I take care of myself, have those healthy boundaries, and am able to keep my energy functioning, I am of no use to anyone else. You know, the airplane, it's put your mask on first, then help your child. It's we have to take care of ourselves first. So that being faithful to yourself is learning, where am I compromising?
Right.
And what's behind it? What are those programmings that got put in there? Are those belief systems or the emotional traumas that set up these patterns in our past that make us respond the way we do now to compromise and not hold that boundary strong? And by going through this program, we get that opportunity to really go into that in more depth so you can bring this up and explore it and have that internal dialogue, and then the opportunity on the group calls, because to me, when we talk it out, especially for women, we help find our answers. And so having a group of people that you're going through this together, you have that support and people to bounce things off of so you can see yourself more clearly. They provide the mirrors for us. Did that answer it?
Yeah, that was exactly it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maureen. I enjoyed hearing you and look forward to hearing some more.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you joined us.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any final questions, comments, or thoughts? All right, then. So don't hesitate to reach out. I am here. If you know anyone who is struggling through this, please put them in contact with me. I want to help. I want to help people heal and move forward and find their true selves and their calm and center through this and what they're here to do next. So thank you for joining me.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maureen.
Thank you. Good night.
And remember, you've changed. Yes, I'm the new you. That's where we're going in this program.
All right.
that's awesome.
I
Thank
forgot
you.
I had that.
Fun.
So a little lightness. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a
Bye.
Okay.